Ici Londres.
Paul Samuelson, the Nobel Prize-winning economist, was once challenged to name a single proposition in the whole of the social sciences that was both true and non-trivial. He responded by identifying David Ricardo's theory of comparative advantage. He said that it is true need not be argued before a mathematician, and that it is non-trivial is attested by the thousands of important and intelligent men who fail to understand it, even after it's been explained to them. Well, it's 200 years, precisely, since Ricardo propounded his counterintuitive idea in 1817. And to this day, thousands of important and intelligent men fail to grasp it. And the reason is that it is extremely difficult. It's running up against intuitions encoded deep in our genome. How many times have I heard newspaper editors, academics, politicians claiming that the theory is somehow out of date because it doesn't take account of the global modern economy with cheap labor and mobile labor and all the rest of it? It was precisely that David Ricardo was setting out to answer in the first place. So how are we to explain the theory? Well, it's difficult. I mean, most people understand that if Britain is very good at financial services and China is very good at making cars, that it makes sense for Britain to concentrate on the services and China to concentrate on the automotive industry. Most people will understand that without needing to have it explained to them. But what when the Chinese get to be better at both financial services and cars? How can it still be in Britain's interest to trade with them? Sure, we can all see that it would be in China's interest, but how is it that free trade in that situation still works to the benefit of both countries? Well, it's difficult to explain without actually going in to the basic logic, but let me have a go at it. Think of it as it being your family rather than a whole country. Suppose that suddenly, because of productivity gains in China, everything Chinese becomes much, much cheaper. Well, you can see that you'd be able to sustain the same standard of living by working shorter hours because prices would have fallen. You'd then be able to use the time you'd saved to earn more money doing something else, even if that something is an area where the Chinese in absolute terms had an advantage over you. Yeah, they're a lot better off, but you're better off too. Well, let me put it another way. I'm borrowing this illustration from Matthew Ridley. Winston Churchill was a brilliant bricklayer. You can see it today. You go and look at the wall he built around his country house in Kent. The trowel work is superb. So would it have made sense, whenever Winston Churchill needed any work done to his house, for him to have done it himself? Well, I think most of us understand that it wouldn't have done, because he had a comparative advantage as a politician, a speech writer, a speech maker, and indeed, ultimately, a winner of wars. So it would have made sense, when Churchill needed a builder, to get somebody else to come in and do it for him, even though he, Churchill, might have done a better job than the builder. That's the essence of comparative advantage. Well, the fact that it's taken this long, and I'm still not sure that I've convinced you, shows the basic problem that politicians face. Which is why I've come to the conclusion that really the only way to show that free trade works, even in a world where others have cheaper costs and greater productivity, is to do it. When you open your markets without reservation, in a way that Hong Kong or Singapore, or more recently New Zealand and now Australia have done, nobody wants to go back. People see that inviting the traffic and commerce of the world raises standards for everybody, especially the poor. Britain now has an opportunity to do precisely that. Let's make sure we seize it.